50 cars a day. That's how many strangers were trespassing across my land because one retired man with a polo shirt and a clipboard decided he was Moses parting the Red Sea of morning traffic, except the sea was my driveway. And the best part? He sent me a letter thanking me for my cooperation while they were tearing up asphalt my grandfather paid for. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to stop the HOA, I was going to let them destroy themselves. Let me back up a second. About 10 years ago, my wife and I moved into the suburbs thinking we were doing the wholesome American thing. Good schools, trimmed lawns, community pool with suspiciously blue water. Turns out you had to be part of the HOA to use that pool. Fine. I called them up, ready to hand over my money like a responsible adult, and they told me, "We're not accepting new members." I actually laughed. I was offering them cash, and they said no. Whatever. We forgot about it. A few years later, my wife got into gardening. Problem was, our backyard had the sunlight of a cave. So we built a raised garden bed in the front yard. Checked city laws. Totally legal. And I'll tell you something, that garden looked like it belonged on the cover of a magazine. Neighbors walking by, kids stealing berries, my wife glowing like she just won a ribbon at the county fair. Then the city inspector started showing up. Every single week. Got a complaint, he'd say, shrugging, looking embarrassed. But no, you're not breaking any laws. Someone kept reporting us. Anonymous. So I filed a Freedom of Information request to find out who it was. Funny thing, the complaint stopped immediately. Never got an answer, but the message was clear. Whoever it was didn't want their name out there. Then one day I get a call. An older woman's voice, tight, smug. You need to remove your front yard garden. It violates HOA rules. And that's when it clicked. These are the same people who refused my money years ago. I told her, sweet as pie, that I wasn't part of their little club. Never joined, never signed, never agreed. So their rules meant about as much to me as a bedtime story. Silence on the line. You could almost hear her soul leave her body. The garden's bigger now, by the way. We even added a couple kid playhouses just to really commit to the bit. But that was just practice. The real show started when my grandfather passed away. He left me 2 acres that had been in our family 3 generations. Back when he bought it, the area was farmland and rubber plantations. He built a house, paved a straight-shot driveway from the highway, and lived quietly for decades. Then the city expanded. Behind his land, hills got carved into something called busybody estates, luxury homes, winding roads, Mercedes, and BMWs like it was a dealership catalog. Here's the thing. Their official exit snakes through hills and takes 15 to 20 minutes during rush hour. My driveway, straight 300-meter shot to the highway. 10 minutes saved. Easy. During construction, the developer asked Grandpa if they could use his road for trucks. He negotiated a monthly fee. They paid. Agreement ended when construction ended. Clean. Done. When I moved in years later, life was peaceful. Until Uncle Henry became HOA president. You know the type. Retired, too much time, polo shirt tucked into khaki shorts, clipboard in hand like he'd been elected mayor of everything. 2 months into his reign, I started noticing cars using my driveway in the morning. At first a few, then dozens. Within weeks, 50 to 60 cars a day. Speeding. Honking. One guy yelled at me for walking my dog too close to the lane. The lane. On my land. Then I found the letter. Official HOA letterhead. Signed by Uncle Henry. Notice of Community Access Designation. He claimed historical usage had created a community easement. My driveway was now Exit B. Residents were encouraged to use it. Thank you for your cooperation. I read it 3 times. He had declared my private property public without asking me. I tried polite. Put up a giant red private property sign. It disappeared. Bolted another one down. Spray painted over. I confronted him. Calm. Explained the agreement had been temporary for construction. He smiled like I was a child. It's for the community, he said. You should be grateful. Grateful. That's when I stopped trying to win the argument and started planning the lesson. I called my lawyer friend, the kind of guy who lights up at property disputes. He reviewed everything in 10 minutes and started laughing. No easement. None. The clause Henry cited referred to underground utility pipes, not the road itself. Legally, I could block it outright. But simple wasn't satisfying. If the HOA had declared my road community infrastructure, then I would treat it like community infrastructure. I researched local regulations. Turns out, if a private road is used by a community, the owner can charge reasonable maintenance fees. So I set it at $10 per entry. Installed 2 industrial-grade speed bumps, the kind that make your spine reconsider its life choices. Hired 2 university students. Set them up under a canopy with a sign, private road maintenance fee, $10 per entry. Printed invoices with license plate lines. They weren't to block anyone. Just note plates and hand out invoices. Day 1 was chaos. SUVs rolling up, slamming brakes at the first speed bump. Drivers confused. Students smiling politely, handing them invoices. Most refused to pay. Fine. Invoice stated unpaid fees may be pursued in small claims court. I wasn't planning to, but they didn't know that. Day 2. Uncle Henry showed up at his Mercedes, barely slowed for the first bump. I thought he was going to scrape the undercarriage clean off. He stormed out of the car, red-faced. "This is illegal." I walked down with my lawyer. "Oh," I said, "but your letter says it's community infrastructure. I'm simply collecting maintenance fees." My lawyer calmly dismantled him in front of his own car. Showed the deed, the temporary construction agreement, explained the utility clause. And then, here's the twist, he pointed out something beautiful. By officially declaring my road community access, Henry had acknowledged usage. That acknowledgement strengthened my legal right to charge fees. Henry had trapped himself. If he admitted the letter was wrong, he'd look incompetent. If he insisted it was right, he validated my toll system. He left without paying. Students wrote down his plate. Over the next few days, the HOA WhatsApp group apparently exploded. Residents furious. Factions forming. Lawsuit threats flying like confetti. Traffic dropped from 60 cars a day to 4. But I wasn't done. My lawyer sent a formal letter to the HOA citing their own acknowledgement of usage, estimating $3,500 in road degradation. Demanded payment. I expected war. Instead, 2 weeks later, I received a letter signed not by Henry, but by the vice president and treasurer. They admitted miscommunication, confirmed the road was private, enclosed a check for $3,500. And here's the karma. They sent a correction notice to every resident clarifying Exit B was private property and unauthorized use would constitute trespassing. Henry stepped down shortly after, officially to spend more time with his grandchildren. Unofficially, well, I used the $3,500 to build a stone wall and motorized gate. Beautiful one. Keypad. Intercom. Impossible to ignore. Before Henry's letter, I had a sign people mostly respected. After his letter, I had a gate paid for by the HOA. Sometimes the best revenge isn't rage, it's letting someone's ego dig their own hole. And here's the thing I realized. Power doesn't corrupt as much as it reveals. Give someone a little authority and enough free time, and you find out who they really are. Henry didn't want efficiency. He wanted importance. My grandfather used to say the most dangerous neighbor isn't the loud one, it's the bored one. He was right. Now, Busybody Estates uses their official exit like normal human beings. My driveway is quiet again. Coffee on the porch tastes better when it isn't seasoned with exhaust fumes. And yeah, watching that gate close the first time, knowing it was funded by the very people who try to take my road, that felt like justice. But here's a question for you. If someone tries to bully you using community good as a weapon, how far is too far when you push back? Is malicious compliance justice or just revenge dressed up in paperwork? I'm curious where you stand. Have you ever had a neighbor or HOA overstep like this? Did you fight it or let slide? Drop your thoughts, because sometimes these stories aren't just entertainment. They're reminders that boundaries only exist if you defend them.